Good afternoon, everybody. It is Wednesday, and today is one of my days off, so I'm still in bag 2 of the 100 Things Challenge, and in all honesty, I'm getting very tired of the materials that are in that bag. Well, I don't know if you remember, when I showed bag 2, I had a huge stack of empty either bags. These are Avon bags, gift bags, and food bags that I wanted to reuse. And I've made paper bag journals, and when I've used most of the paper bags, I almost always use the bags that are brown. And so I had quite a bit of the white bags that were piled up, and I thought, I'm going to experiment and play this morning and see what I can come up with. So a while back, I did a video where I had seen this technique where you take a paper bag or even any kind of heavier weight paper, you crumple it up, you open it up, you put little blotches of acrylic craft paint, then you crumple it back up, and then carefully open it up and let it dry, and it makes a neat effect. And I've done that, and I did a whole journal with that kind of paper, and it's really neat. It changes the texture and the quality of the paper. Well, I decided to try something different. I have these little Tim Holtz distress inks and little ink pads, and my husband had bought me this set, and they're very interesting, bright colors. And I'm just kind of learning how to use distress inks, and one of the main things that frankly annoys me about distress ink is it does not, quote, permanently dry. And what I mean by that is if any kind of dampness gets near it, it runs. And so I thought about that this morning, and I thought, well, you know what? Let's use that to our advantage. So what I did was this. First, I cut the bags open. I cut it down the side. I cut the bottom completely off, and I throw that away. The heavy bottom where they glue the pieces, a lot of times I do not use that. And then I literally, after I cut it, and it was a big long sheet, and then I cut it into manageable pieces. This is like a side and then one of the shorter sides. And that was the pieces that I'm working with, like that. Here's some about what they originally look like there's that T-Mobile bag. And so I crumpled it, I opened it. Now, if it was a little bit heavier weight, like this was a bigger bag, I crumpled it twice. I crumpled it, and I will say this is something to do a few times. It is hard on your hands to crumple some of these heavier bags. Or maybe I just have, maybe I've got the beginnings of arthritis or something, I don't know. But anyway, crumple it, carefully open it back up, and then I crumpled it again because I want as many lines as I can get into it. And then what I did was I took the distress ink pads, and I just randomly just rubbed a color, and then rubbed another color, and then rubbed the third or fourth color. What's interesting is, if you notice, like none of these is purple, but you'll see purple in here because as you accidentally go over one color with another, it would actually change to a, what I think it's called a secondary color. When you have primary colors, and then when they mix, you make secondary colors. So, and then what I did was, after I swiped it on, I went to my sink. And let me say this, if you do this project, A, do not wear good clothes because you're dealing with ink and water. And I would do it over your kitchen sink because what I did was I just turned, and if you have a spray bottle, you could do it with spray. I literally just brought the paper to my sink. I just did like that. I flicked random little droplets of water, and then I crumpled it back up, crumpling to the inside from the outside. Crumple it, and then now, once you put water on this, and you'll see as I show you these, it is going to, especially like where there was creases, it is going to rip. But I'm willing to work around those. I think it came out really neat. So you carefully open it back up, and this is what you end up with. I'm going to call this faux tie-dye because that's what it kind of reminds me of. Some of the other papers have almost kind of a watercolory effect. And it all depends on how heavy the paper is, how much water you put on it, how much you crumpled it. So there's all variables, and you're never going to get the exact same paper in each one. Every single one will be different. I like that. I want randomness in my art. I don't want the same thing every time. So here was the first page. And as you can see, I did this one on the side of the bag with the advertising. So now I've literally created another craft supply with something that a lot of people just throw away, the gift bags or the food bags or any of these bags you get your products in when you order something. Now, what I did was, after I made about 10 of them, I have an iron. Excuse me. I have an iron, this Rowenta iron, that I bought for $1 at a garage sale. And as you can see, that's why I got it for $1. It works perfectly, but it has all that black stuff on the bottom. So I can't use that on clothes. I have a craft iron. It's just specifically for crafts. So what I did was, after I did about 10 of them, I put a big sheet of, in fact, another big heavy brown paper bag, and then I turned it over where if I put the ink on this side, I turned it over on this side and I ironed it. And it literally just quickly took care of all the water that I had sprinkled on the paper. And what's interesting is you could even use this side of the paper. If you wanted more of just a very light effect, you could use this side. And then as you can see, this is where the handles of the bag. I just pulled that up. I took the handles out. This little piece right here, see that edge? It can still be used for something. Why throw it away? So here was the first page. And as you'll see, now this was a Jimmy John's food bag. This is a much thinner paper. And so it reacted differently. I really like that. It's almost kind of a watercolor type effect. And it does depend on how much. You'll see, I mean, obviously this is where bigger drops of water hit. This is where water didn't get as much, that it didn't blend it. And then here's the other side of that Jimmy John's bag. And I like how it has, see how it has all the little lines and creases and texture. What I think would be cool, some of the darker ones, you could even put a light thin coat of gesso or even white paint in places. Here's another one, and see on this one I didn't use as much water, so more of the brighter colors are showing through. And as you can see right here, see, it will come apart, but that's okay. I don't know yet what I'm going to use it as. I may use it in a journal. What I would probably do is take an old piece of scrap thin, maybe a piece of textbook paper, you know, just book page, and I would back it on that, and that way to give it a heavier weight, and that way you can kind of almost patch the places where it may have ripped, or just work around it, cut around. See, I can cut that. I can use this piece for something. I can use that piece. Okay, I really like that one. This was one of those Avon bags, but it was a smaller one, so it was a little bit thinner quality paper. And that one had more water, and it really did very watercolory. I like that. And here's another one of those bags. And on the first one I did over the words, but on these I went ahead. I mean, and it's literally a blank sheet of white paper that I've done some embellishment to. And as you can see, it's really, this one was really coming apart quite a bit. This was one of the first ones I did, but that's okay. Just use the pieces as they are. And then here is the other side of the Avon bag, and again, I really like that. I put quite a bit of water on that one, and as you can see, it quickly blended the colors. So that's something I wanted to share with y'all this morning, that you can take something that normally you're just going to throw in the garbage and make a craft supply out of it. Obviously I used bright colors because I use these ink pads, but I could see where you could easily do this let's say with a Tim Holtz Distress ink that's like the walnut or one of the other colors. Like if I would do the same thing with the brown paper and then put Distress ink walnut over it, how cool would that be? That would look like an old, tattered piece of old paper. So play around with it. It's something you're going to throw away anyway, so it doesn't hurt you to try and experiment. I will try to post a follow-up video about some of the things I do with this paper. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give me a thumbs up and please subscribe so I can keep sharing free information with people. All right, thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.